Good afternoon, my name is Volodymyr, and I want to thank everybody who joins us in Ukraine Media Center Ukraine Forum today. It's been 10 years of the war, and today is day 684 of the full-scale invasion of our homeland by Russian aggressor. And traditionally, I want to thank the representatives of all the mass media who tell the world the truth about our fight for freedom. And now we will be talking about the situation in our borders. Joining us online is Volodymyr Balin, Vice President of the Association of International Road Carriers of Ukraine. Good afternoon, Mr. Volodymyr. Good afternoon. Mr. Volodymyr, I would like to start our conversation with the situation in the border with Poland. What is it like for the time being? Well, I would like to say that within the last couple of days there is quite an intense negotiations going on between the governments of Poland and government of Ukraine. The Polish government is represented by the Deputy Prime Minister, who was talking to the strikers. We don't have any official information about their requirements for unblocking the border, but we hope that within some short period we will get this information. We know it from the Deputy Minister of Infrastructure of Ukraine, who is in charge of these negotiations. He says Ukraine has done everything on its part. Everything that is not yet done is ready to be done just on the same day as the border will be unblocked. Ukraine is about to impose all the measures that we've promised to impose on our part. So we wait for the decision by the demonstrators. Mr. Derkach assured us that he is in constant communication with the Minister of Infrastructure of Poland, who are in touch with the demonstrators to unblock the border. However, for the time being, in 4 checkposts, out of 4 checkposts, only the smallest one, Shehini-Medyka, is unblocked. Why is it the smallest? Because its capability is to let only 250 vehicles each side. Ravoruska Hribena capacity is 300 vehicles per day. Well, the vehicles are moving for export, but the import is blocked. Krakivets-Korchova, the checkpost capacity is 500 vehicles per day. The vehicles are only moving export side, but the biggest checkpost, that may pass or may process up to 600 vehicles, and the record is 680 vehicles per day. It's currently completely blocked, no matter that the queue for the empty vehicles is set up there upon the requirement of Polish side. Mr. Volodymyr, do we understand what is the length of queues in the checkposts? We had information about 550-600 vehicles in Medyki expecting to cross the border in Medyka, Shehini, and up to 1,000 vehicles in all other checkposts, because some of the vehicles were looking for a way around. Some drivers just parked their vehicles during the holidays and left for their homes for the holiday season. And the figures that were mentioned by the State Bodyguard Service is up to 1,000 vehicles in other 3 checkposts. Mr. Volodymyr, is it correct to say that we expect to find solution for this situation based on what you've just said? Well, we expect that the government of Poland will find agreement with the demonstrators. I want to mention that the fact that Medyka Shehini checkpost is unblocked, the unblocking is due to the Polish government having undertaken certain obligations in front of the agrarians. So there is a lot more question by the Polish transporters to their government. They have a lot of questions to their government. During the meeting of the mixed commission, we've seen that the Ministry of Infrastructure 100% supports the position of the transporters. I cannot say that the position of Polish demonstrators, well, and those carriers that are not striking, is a little bit different. but we expect for the official position of the Minister of Infrastructure of Poland, and according to the information that we have, everything that is related to Ukrainian side. I want to repeat myself, Ukrainian Ministry of Infrastructure has undertaken all the measures, or they are ready to undertake them as soon as the border is unblocked. Mr. Volodymyr, the situation is going on for more than 2 months now, so within this time were we able to develop some alternative routes for our cargo trucks. Let me put it this way, the goods are moving, they are really moving through the way around Poland, through Romania, Slovakia, Hungary, and I appreciate the position of Romania, who does not impose any strikes and demonstrations, and they even returned the permits, and is the only country of the European Union who, together with our government, currently has developed the plan of measures for the development of the checkposts, the international checkposts, and we're preparing the construction of 2 new checkposts. We've launched, since the beginning of the last year, we've launched the checkpost of Krasnoyarsk. This reconstruction was completed, and a lot of works are planned and are underway with regard to passage to Romania through Moldova. That's true. The developments are not as fast as we would like them to be, but the work is underway. We have information that in the territory of Romania, the road network is expanding to increase and to intensify the passage of cargo trucks to the port of Constanța is the priority for the Romania, for the development of their economy. The fact that some shipments were going through Romania, through Romanian ports, is a minus to Polish economy. There were a lot of cargo trucks going through Hungary and through Slovakia from other directions, and it's very important here to pay attention to Hungary Chop-Zachin checkpost, which is capable of passing 300 vehicles per day. It was able to pass up to 450, the peak load, and we appreciate the input of our border guard service and customs service and the government of Hungary. They clearly understand that it's a damage to their economy, so they prohibited any strikers, any demonstrators to block the roads. So there was a huge load on the checkposts in the border with Slovakia and Hungary. If there was such an opportunity, the cargo trucks were redirected to Romania. In case of Zahon Shop checkpost, the line was up to 1,000 vehicles. So the buffer was created in the border with Slovakia. In the border with Slovakia, the situation is a little bit worse. The border was blocked twice, once for 3 and once for 4 days. Generally, the position of Slovakian cargo carriers is such that they want to revert the permits, and we are ready to enter into negotiations with them next week to provide alternative options. We've already given such alternative options to Hungarian road carriers, and our task, in cooperation with our partners from Poland, Lithuania, Romania, and Hungary and Czech Republic, is to develop a procedure that would allow our cargo carriers to work under the same market conditions as the European ones. And using a procedure like this, as soon as it's agreed on a bilateral basis between us and Slovakians, us and Czechs, us and Hungarians, us and Lithuanians, us and Polish, we are ready to come to our governments and say, like, here we have a procedure and it will lift a lot of problems. So currently, our partners say that it's only market that may equalize the permits procedure, but the goal of our negotiations with Hungarians and Slovakians is to bring our positions close to disable blocking of border in any manner. In case we have any problems with Poland and Polish legislation allows us to create such, or allow such problems to be created for us, specifically on the Polish side, which results in loss for Poland and Baltic countries who don't have any other don't have any other routes to our country other than through Poland. They lose a lot. So we hope that the head of the Polish government, who set the task for his subordinates to unblock the border, we hope that he will continue his intense influence. We want to thank Donald Tusk for his input. However, we have to be ready to see that Poland will cease to be the biggest transit area for us, for European countries. So this is exactly what I was going to ask you. Are we ready strategically to get reformatted and to understand that in future there are like preparation works that you mentioned in the border with Romania, but are we ready to redistribute our cargo carrying flows to make sure that our transporters, our cargo transporters or cargo carriers go through other countries than Poland? Well, 2 months of strike doesn't mean that we were just sitting there for 2 months. No, the things were moving. There is such an alternative as railroad. The cargo was transported by railroad, and if the safety situation allows and the airports of Uzhhorod and Lviv will be relaunched, some of the goods may be transported by airplanes as well, because certain goods were transported by air. They were coming to our airport of Borispol, the high-cost goods. So it's yet another way, it's just another logistic way that is possible. And talking about all the transportations that need to be done around Poland, we explained to our customers that it's a real challenge. You better pay more rather than staying in lines for a couple of days, and you cannot really forecast how long will it take to stay in that line. You cannot say how long you may stay in each of the checkposts. There may be some understanding on our side about the speed of movement of this line, but we have no understanding of that on the Polish side. Well, so currently we're trying the strategy of bilateral negotiations, and potentially they should be positive for us. But what's going on with the negotiations with the European Union? Or we've tried that option already and it haven't worked, or do we still continue our negotiations with the European Union? Well, let me tell you honestly, the cargo carriers don't communicate with the European Commission. We only communicate with the Committee for Automobile Transport. They had a number of coordination meetings. We were not able to find any agreement so far, unfortunately, because all the associations, Slovakian, Czech, Hungarian, Lithuanian, and Polish, they are all part of MSAT system. We all work within the same system, and they are interested to make sure to avoid any obstacles in the border, specifically when the strike is going on and there is no understanding how long the goods will be moving. So the sooner the goods are moving, the sooner the better the economy develops. But talking about European Commission, we know that the Ministry of Infrastructure is in touch with the European Commission at all times. All the propositions are given to the Polish side, and we'll see how Polish side reacts. For the time being, we are being assured that the Polish ministry fully supports the propositions provided by Ukraine. Let me repeat myself, Ukraine has fulfilled all of its obligations, and now the communication of the government with the demonstrators is to assure that their requirements will be taken into account, because what's going on now, in fact, we've become the hostages to the demonstrators who blocked the border, and they dictate their conditions to us, to me personally, and to my colleagues, the cargo carriers. It's something that we do not really like, and currently I think we should dictate our conditions to Polish cargo carriers. We're thinking about the ways of doing it properly legally. We cannot block the roads. It's unacceptable on our side and it's illegal on top of that, but we have to take all the measures with regard to the Polish road carriers, specifically those who are supposed to come here with the Ukrainian drivers with humanitarian cargo, but instead they bring commercial cargo. We have mechanisms to react to such activities of Polish companies, and moreover, it's important that if before the strikes more than 9% Polish cargo trucks crossed the border, so with the beginning of the trucks, 20% of them, which means that they keep our trucks in line, but they let the Polish trucks through. I think it's unfair, and we will start documenting such cases, and through the Ministry of Infrastructure we will communicate such facts to the European Commission so they react properly to such facts of discrimination of Ukrainian cargo transporters. Mr. Volodymyr, in Ukrainian mass media, there is information that regardless the statements of Polish demonstrators, the blocking still influences the supplies for our armed forces. Do you document any cases like that? Well, let's segregate two types of supply. One type of supplies is coming under the government programs. The trucks are coming with convoys, both in Ukraine and in Poland, and there is no issue with delay of such trucks. Talking about some issues arising from time to time, you know, it's no secret to anybody that a lot of trucks are coming with humanitarian cargoes. Some companies are buying some goods, some double-purpose goods, they custom clear it and they hand it over to humanitarian foundations, which are further on, and the humanitarian or charity organizations hand them over to the military further on. So de facto they are purposed for the military, but the jure, they according to the documents, is the humanitarian cargo. So we have to understand what is the military cargo, what is humanitarian cargo. In Polish there is a unified system. If you carry a humanitarian cargo, you have to register it to get a specific code, because otherwise if you don't register, the cargo won't be considered a humanitarian cargo. And the same situation with the products with the short life. It's like with the deep frozen meat, you know, some may consider it a product with long shelf life and some consider it a product with a short shelf life, but the customs always require the documents. They check it. However, the demonstrators, you know, they require the documents for the check, and I think this is unacceptable because there are Polish bodyguards and Polish customs service by their side, because those people who just stand in the middle of the road, they are not entitled to check in any documents, whether Polish or Ukrainian. This is what our lawyers currently work with. But again, I need to assure you that anything that goes under convoy is not being stopped by anybody. Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Volodymyr. Dear colleagues, let me remind you, joining us online was Volodymyr Balin, the president or vice president of the Association of International Road Carriers of Ukraine, and we will continue keeping track of the situation in the border. Thank you for being with us. Our team is working on preparing the schedule for tomorrow. Stay tuned, follow our announcements, and I want to thank our security and defense forces. Glory to Ukraine.